All right, this is part 2 of building the dashboard, bringing your data to life. And in that first part, we created a whole series of measures for the donut charts for the Proficiency Performance Index for school, district, county, and state. And now we're going to build the rest of what you see here. We're going to start off with building out the ArcGIS map, which will show the counties, and also a tooltip. When you hover over, it will show the number tested. Then we'll follow on by adding in the matrix table for the average percent proficiency index by county, along with this column chart, the filter, and the last row here, the bottom third of information, where we have our key data definitions table. This one will be straightforward and simple to put together. Just a few slicers, filters, and then some more tables. And all of this, as a reminder, this is a very beginner level dashboard build. I put this together so that you can have a variety of experiences by putting together some simple charts, tables, matrix tables, and then having some customizations through some top end filters. Okay, go ahead and open up where we left off and we'll get started. We're back into the report view here. We have the school, district, county, and state proficiency performance index donut charts laid out. Now we are ready for, if you click on ArcGIS for Power BI, oh, what do you know? It puts it right there, that spot. If you see this pop up here, it says enlarge the visual, editing not available in the small visual. Make this larger to continue editing. You gotta make it a little bit bigger. And we're just going to continue as guest. Now the height of this, we're going to, let's open up the format pane. And the height of 400 is what we're going to make. We'll only put a couple of fields in here. And that will be, we're going to go to dim county, put in the county, and that will go under location. And you'll see right away, it will zoom into the counties. There are a couple of settings within the visual that will adjust. Under tooltips, we are going to add in, under fact county, number tested. That way, so when you hover over there, you see the number tested. Now, there are a couple of things that we need to do to make sure that we can see what's going on here. What are the counties? What are the names of the counties? And that's where we're going to go into these settings here and then make those adjustments. Just going through, this is a very broad overview. We're not going to get into detail into this visual because there is a whole slew of things that you can do with it. It's quite amazing. But for our purposes, we're going to make it very, very simple. So under the active layer, under labels, we're going to click on show labels. And we're going to reduce the size of the text to size 8. And we'll change the text to Arial. Next, under the color palette, you'll see the color palette there, little icon. We're going to change the outline Let's go with a dark blue. To enable more options in here, we're going to go a little bit deeper and then add in, under color, the number tested. Make sure it's summed. So if you, under summarization, you have options. You can have it defaults to sum. You have average, minimum, maximum. You can have count, standard deviation, variance, and median. We're going to leave it as sum because we want to show per county what is the number, the total number of number tested. Let's go back into the color palette here, color palette, and then the color ramp. You can choose any color ramp that you would like to. However, we're going to make this a little bit bigger so that we can see more of this menu. Under the color ramps, there's best for light backgrounds, blues, Under the blues, let's go with this perfect pigtails. And for the color ramp, if you click on color classification, you will see where the colors lie within the range. And you see 2 million is the top most value. That's Maricopa County. And there are 2 million, there was over 2 million students tested in Maricopa County. So the lighter the color, the more tested. And if you go over to the layers, it looks like a little, almost like a hamburger menu. This is a layers button. And if you click on the pop out right here, it will give you the option of showing a legend for all of your colors. This is the sum of number tested, and here's the range. All right, let's bring this back down to an appropriate size. And then a couple of small changes we'll make on this visual will be the title. So call it number tested by county. And make that centered. And change the text to SGUI UI. And let's change the size of it to 12. All right. And that's all that we need to do for this visual. You can kind of play with it. You can zoom out, you can zoom in, and position the state where you want it. And so one more thing that we're going to do across all of the visuals that we're going to have, we want a consistent appearance, and that requires us to adjust the border, have a rounded border. Under the first format option in size and style, we'll click on visual border, click on shadow, and for visual border, we'll leave it the blue color, but we're going to give it some rounded corners and give it rounded corners of 10. And then the shadow, we will have it that dark orange. That way it gives it a little pop. All of the objects that are in this middle area, we're going to have the same shadow color. It's going to help differentiate the top area, the middle area, and the lower third area. That completes the ArcGIS map. We're going to move on to building out the Average Percent Proficiency Index by county matrix table. Okay, let's put in a matrix table. And this one will go right next to the ArcGIS visual. And for this, we're going to go to the county fact table. We're going to add in counties under the rows and then the proficiency levels under values. We're not going to add in anything under the columns. So under dimension county, put in county, and then under the fact county table, put in proficiency level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so there's a few things we need to change right out of the gate. You see that the numbers, they just don't seem right. 217%. We have a grand total of 11,955%. That's not right. So the values, we're going to change it from a sum to an average. Because that's what this table is going to show, is this table is going to show the average proficiency level across all of the counties. So under values, you're going to click on each of the fields, and then under summarization, you will click the drop down and then click on average. Now, of course, we have to change the name for each one of these. And because we're going to have average in the name of the title, we don't have to have the name average in each of the columns. And to save space, instead of having the name, the word percent, we're going to change it out for a percent sign. So you'll delete average of percent, those words, and then you'll replace it with the percent sign. You'll do this for each of the columns. And then I know the width that we need to make this already, which will be 464. And for each of the columns, if you hover over in between the columns, you'll see a left and right arrow with a little double line in the middle. That tells you that you can adjust the column width. And we're going to shrink each column width so that the level is on the second line. And since we're in the size and style area, we're going to give it the border, give it a shadow. Remember, it's the same orange color from the previous, the ArcGIS. We're also going to give it around the corners of 10 pixels. And padding, we're going to change the padding. The only thing we're going to change on the padding is the top padding. We're going to change to 0. So moving down, we are going to add in a title. And the title will be Average Percent Proficiency Index dash by county. We're going to put that in the center and then change the text, the font to Subgroup UI. Then the next thing we're going to change is scroll down to values, and both of the background colors, the background color and then the alternative background color, will be white. And also the values we're going to change to a size 8. We do not need the column subtotals or the row subtotals. So go ahead and turn those off. And then the next thing to do is go under specific column. We're going to center each of these columns. So proficiency level 1, center that. Go to the next one, click on center, and click on center for the third. And then proficiency level 4, click on center. Under cell elements, for each of the proficiency levels, we're going to enable the background color. So click on each of them, enable the background color. Now this isn't exactly the color scheme that we want. So what we're going to do is go into the first one, click on the FX button. So the way that this is set up right now is that from the lowest value to the highest value within that column of the proficiency level 1 or whichever proficiency level that you have chosen. And it is the summarization of average. Whatever the lowest value is in that column, it will have this color as the lowest value, and then this color as the highest value. We're going to add in a middle color, and that middle color will be white. But the lowest value, we're going to change over to a light red color. And then the highest value will be actually a light blue color. Let's make it a medium blue, that way so we can easily see. So red, white, and blue. Love it. Marca. All right. So now we have conditional formatting on the first column. And because in the data dictionary, the state of Arizona says that the passing percent achievement is a proficiency level 3, we're going to filter this, or rather sort it, by the proficiency level 3. So having the highest percent at the top. So as we change the colors for each of these for the conditional formatting, you will see it all come together. So click on level 2 now and click on the background color, the FX button, add in the middle color. The middle color will be white. The lowest value, we're going to make that a light red color, and then the highest value will be the middle blue color. And then repeat that again for proficiency level 3. Add in a middle color. The middle color will be white. Lowest value will be light red. Highest value will be a middle blue color. And then Level 4, middle color is white. Lowest color will be a light red. And then the maximum highest value will be a light blue, middle blue. Okay, there we go. This paints a much different picture now that we see the colors laid out. The values are the same across the board, where the highest value is a middle blue color, and then the lowest value is a light red color, with white being the middle color. And that's all we need to do for this matrix table. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have that picture next to there along with the top end filters, but we're going to save those elements for the last part after we build out the top end tables. So the next thing that we're going to build out is a column chart. I'm going to move this all the way to the right, just nudge it up against the edge of the State Proficiency Performance Index. The width of it, we're going to have about 490. Just align it to the right. So this particular table is a State Performance Index by subgroup. So under Dimension Subgroup, you're going to click Subgroup. That is going to be the x-axis. Now under the Measures Tables, under State, let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see. We will choose the high, moderate, and needs improvement measures. So the same state measures that we use in the donut chart, we're going to use in here we're going to use in the clustered column chart. The difference is we're going to break it down by subgroup. And if you recall in the beginning, and we'll show this as we build out the data dictionary table, when the science proficiency exam was administered, the student, when they filled out the information, it is what they identified as far as their subgroup goes. All right, since we are at the top of the formatting options, we're going to give it a visual border, rounded corners of 10 pixels, give it a shadow, and the shadow will be that dark orange color again. Now, as we scroll down, we'll get to the title. The title itself, we're going to change to State Performance Index by subgroup. Center the title as well, and make things consistent with the font. Change it over to Segui UI, and change the size down to size 12. Okay, we can go down to the x-axis. And since we have how this is broken down in the title, we don't need the title for the x-axis. And let's change the font size to size 8. And then we're going to change the maximum height to 40%. What that does is it allows the titles of the x-axis to give a little bit more breathing room so that you can see the information. Next is the y-axis. We're going to turn off the title as well. Under legend, similarly to the donut chart, we're going to give it the name of performance. So under title for legend, put in performance. Then you'll see that we have high performing, moderate performing, and needs improvement. We can change the y-axis fields, rename those to be high, moderate, and needs improvement. All right, we're coming together here. Okay, the next thing that we're going to adjust is the columns themselves, because what we want is the needs improvement area. Well, green is usually associated with good. So we're going to change that over to the red color. And then if we go over to moderate instead of an orange, that one will be the green color. And then high will be the blue. And we're going to sort if you click on the ellipses on the top right hand side of the graph, it gives you more options. We're going to sort the axis by needs improvement on subgroup. And I see that the legend itself, we should center this. It doesn't look right like that. It would be much better centered. So under legend, options, position, instead of top left, let's go with top center. Okay, that is all we need to do for this table. Now we can start building out the bottom row and then add in the slicers for the top end tables. Okay, the next element is going to be the key data definitions table. This will be a normal table. And look at that, it goes exactly where we need it. And for this, we're going to use the data dictionary. We're going to use column name, description, and value. Now, for the time being, we're going to expand this. While we make our adjustments. So one of the first things that we can do is where it says column name, this field, we're going to rename that to attribute. And then keep the other column names. So just like the other visuals, we'll give it a visual border, rounded of 10 pixels, and then the shadow, instead of that orange color, we're going to make it a darker orange. So we'll make that one the darkest orange. That's on that in that column of colors from lightest to darkest, we will choose the darkest color. We're going to give it a title. The title will be Key Data Definitions. Center that. We're going to give it a background color. For the background color, we're going to give it a light orange. And then for the text color, we'll give it a dark blue. Yeah, that's good. Let's make it bold as well. Now under values, we're going to make the size 8, go all the way down to size 8. And then this will be one of the times that we're going to choose a different font to a font din, because it's a bit smaller of a font than Subgroup UI. And the purpose behind having this data table to give some contextual information or understanding for what all this data means. Now we don't need everything that's in this table. So we're going to open up our filters pane here, and under attribute, we're going to select percent passing, each of the proficiency levels, school type, subgroup, and test level. Now let's shrink this down. Let's zoom in here. The final width of this table will be 480. And to fit everything in, we can reduce the width of the columns. So taking attribute, reducing the width of that, and then reducing the width of description, so it all fits. All right, there we go. A couple more adjustments. We'll change the font size of the column headers, and then we will also change the background color of the alternate rows. For that, we'll go in under values, under alternate background color, change that over to white. And then column headers, also take that down to a size 8. Okay. That's all we need to do for the key data definitions table. We have 3 more tables to build, and then we'll work on creating those top end filters. All right, the next table we're going to build is another regular table. It's not going to be a matrix table, but we have to create a measure for it. And that's going to show a proficiency index from 1 to 4 across the counties. So let's go over to our measures tables. Under county, we're going to create a new measure. And we'll call this proficiency index. And then categorize it by calling it county. And then equals, hold shift and enter to get to a new line, hit the tab key. We're going to divide, put in sum X, shift enter to go to a new line, and go to fact county. This will be the table that we're referencing, comma, and now it's time for the expression. And it will be open square bracket, number tested, multiplied, parentheses, open parentheses, hold shift and enter to go to a new line, keep things clean. And it will be, so this will be encapsulated in a series of calculations. So open parentheses again, and it'll be 1 times open square bracket, percent proficiency level 1, close parentheses, space, plus symbol, new line, open parentheses, 2 times open square bracket, percent proficiency will be level 2, and then we will repeat this until we get to level 4. So plus, new line, open parentheses, 3 times percent proficiency level 3 plus open parentheses 4 times open square bracket percent proficiency level 4 close parentheses, shift enter to go to a new line, close parentheses to close out that part of the calculation, shift enter, close parentheses again, and then that closes out the sum x portion, comma, and then what are we dividing the sum x portion by? So sum, this will be the entirety of the number tested. So we'll go to, so we'll put fact county and then number tested. Close parentheses, shift enter, close parentheses again, and that closes out the whole DAX measure. All right, click on table. We're creating a new table. This one won't need to be that wide. And then there are 3 things that we need for this. There is the new measure that we just created. So proficiency index county. The county under dim county. And then under fact county, we're going to select number tested. Let's change the order of these. So county we want first. We're going to rename the visual under number tested instead of sum of number tested, just number tested. And we're going to reduce the width of that column, and then the same for the proficiency index. And since we're going to have a title for this, we don't need to have county in the name of the proficiency index. So let's rename that visual and then delete county. And this will be sorted by proficiency index, the highest being at the top, lowest at the bottom. And now let's go through the formatting options. Under size and style, we will give it a visual border and a shadow. Visual border, rounded quarters of 10 pixels. And a shadow will be that dark orange color. The final width of this will be 245. We're going to give it a title. And the title, we're going to give it Average Proficiency Index. And if you hold down the Shift key and then the backslash key, right above that, it gives you a vertical bar, and that's a separator. And we'll have 1 equals lowest, another vertical bar, and 4 equals highest. Now the font size is far too big, so we're going to reduce that down to a size 8 and then change the font to GUI UI. I'm going to center this. Let's actually have the width at 265. That way we can have the full title in there. Now under values, we're going to change the values to a size 8. And then the column headers, we're definitely going to change down to a size 8 as well. Under specific column for proficiency index, we're going to change the alignment to center. We're going to go into the values and change the values of the alternate background color to white. And now we'll do a little bit of conditional formatting under cell elements for proficiency index. We will change the background color. Click on the FX, add in a middle color. That middle color will be white. And the highest, let's change that to a more colors. Let's go with a more of a bright green. And then the lowest, change over to medium red. That way we have a little bit different of a visual interest in there. Now let's move to totals. We don't need the totals area. So let's take that off. And you can adjust your column width as you desire to fit everything. We'll just make that a little bit wider so that it fits with our title. That finishes out this visual. Let's move on to the final 2 tables. All right, for these other 2 tables, we're going to repeat the same process that we created for the county. So for district and for school, we're going to create a proficiency index. Now, because we're going to repeat that process, we can copy and paste that DAX and only change the reference information. So we'll click on the DAX measure that we created for proficiency index. Let's highlight it all, copy. Let's go under district, more options, a new measure. Paste that in. Now, anywhere where it says county, you're going to replace that with district. For a shortcut, if you highlight any area where the word or part of the DAX is iterated across the syntax, if you click on proficiency, it's there. You click on percent, there, level, every iteration of it will be highlighted. You can replace them all at the same time by selecting county and hit Control D as many times as it shows up. Now, when we put in district, they're all replaced at the same time. So that makes creating new measures and replacing information a lot faster and more efficient. And hit enter. That's it. Now we can create that other table. You can either insert a new table at this time, or you can be more efficient and copy and paste. We're going to copy the table that we just created for the county and then paste that 2 times. Now, instead of county, we're going to change this over to district name. And then instead of the proficiency index of county, we will change it over to the proficiency index district that we just created. Now let's move over the proficiency index, let's rename that visual, so we don't need district in that name over there. Decrease the width of the columns. And you'll notice, because we copied and pasted, we have not changed over the source location of the number tested. It's showing the same exact number for every record of information. So we go over to the field. We can type in number tested, and we're grabbing the district. There we go. Click on more options. We're going to sort this by proficiency index. Let's widen this out. And then now, all we have to do to change things up is go over to cell elements, choose the proficiency index, change the background color, click on FX, add in a middle color. Middle color will be white. The lowest color will be that red color, the middle red color, and then the highest will be that vibrant green. That's all we need to do for creating the average proficiency index table for district. Next, we'll move on to the school proficiency level index table. All right, building out this last table here will be quick and easy because we've already created the baseline of it. We do have to create the measure for school. And for that, we can take the proficiency index measure, copy all of that, go over to the school folder for measures, create a new measure, paste that in, and anywhere, whether if you chose county or district, it doesn't matter because you're going to replace all of the places where it says county or district and then replace that with school. Hit enter. Now the measure is done. And so for columns, instead of county, type in school. You will choose you will choose a school name. Proficiency index, instead of county, you can type in index and then choose the school one, and then number tested, change out number tested for the fact table for school. All right, we're going to sort this by the proficiency index. Go over to cell elements under proficiency index. Give it a background color. We're going to change those to the same colors that we used for the other two. The middle color, we're going to add the middle color, change it to white. The lowest value we'll have it that middle red color, and then the highest value we will have as a vivid bright green color. Let's expand out the column for the school name. All right. That is all we need to do for that table. Now, in order to create a top N filter for each of these tables, we'll have to create some new measures. All right, to create these top N filters, we'll have to do a couple of things. We're going to create DAX measure, and then we're also going to create new parameters. So navigate over to the modeling area, the modeling tab. Under new parameter, you'll select numeric range. And for this, we'll have numeric range, and then under the name, we will call it top N regional. The data type will be whole number. The minimum number is going to be 5. Maximum number is going to be 25. And the increment is going to be 1. The default value we'll have at 5, being the minimum number. Go ahead and create that one. It adds the slicer to the page. And now we have a range from 5 to 25. Now it's not connected to anything yet, so we're going to get there. To make these top N filters work, we need an additional DAX measure. And that will be a top N counties, district, or school filter. So going up to the measures table, let's click on the top area. Click on more options, new measure, and call this top N counties filter. Equals, shift enter for a new line. And we're going to introduce variables now, where a variable is a stored piece of information that gets later retrieved. So for this, it'll be var, it'll be selected N equals selected value, and then it's requesting a table. So we're going to say top N regional, and then top N regional, and 15. Shift enter for a new line, var for new variable, space, rank table equals, shift enter, hit the tab key, add columns, shift, say dim county, open square bracket, county, close square bracket, close, so add columns, shift enter, all, this will be dim county, close parentheses, comma, shift enter for a new line, and then in quotations, county rank, close quotations, comma, and then this is where we're going to say rank X, hit the tab key, shift enter for a new line, and then all, hit the tab key, dim county, square bracket, county, close parentheses, comma, comma again, and this will be open square bracket, and then proficiency index county, comma, shift enter for a new line, comma again, and then we are going to have it descending. Shift enter, close parentheses, and then close parentheses once more, and we are going to say return, because we want to return the variable current rank equals, and so tab over, keep the cleanliness there, calculate, shift enter, max, shift enter for a new line, keep it clean, filter rank table, comma, dim county, county, equals max, dim county, county, close parentheses again, comma, and then open square bracket, county rank. Shift enter, close parentheses again, shift enter, return, shift enter, if current rank is less than or equals to selected n, comma, 1, comma, then the first comma is result if true, the second comma result if false, have 0, close parentheses, enter. All right. You follow that. Now the top n counties filter is complete. And if we click on the county, click on the counting table, that new DAX measure that we just created, the top n counties filter, go ahead and drag that over to the filters for that visual. And we want to say is 1, and then apply filter. And there we go. So if you want the top 5, top 11, top 15, you can move the slider or you can type in and hit enter. And that's how that works for creating a top n filter for our tables. Now let's iterate that across the district and the school. Now let's go ahead and create the other two measures for the top filters. They're going to be mostly the same, but there's enough of a difference where we will just type it out. So go to the measures table, click on more options, new measure, and we will create the top n for the districts filter. So call it top n districts filter equals, shift enter for a new line, hit tab. Then we're going to create the two variables. So var selected n equals selected value, and it's going to be top and regional 15, close parentheses, next variable be var rank table equals, shift enter for a new line, tab to go over, add columns, shift enter for new line, be all, and the table will be dim district, district name, close parentheses, comma, enter, and we'll give it a name of district rank, comma, rank X, Shift enter for a new line. All. Dim district. And district name. Close parentheses, comma. Shift enter. And open square bracket. Be proficiency index district, comma. Shift enter for a new line. Another comma, and then we will sort it descending. Shift enter for a new line. Close parentheses, shift enter for a new line again, close parentheses again, and then we go var for new variable. Current rank equals, shift enter for a new line, calculate, shift enter, max, shift enter for a new line, be filter, rank table, comma, dim district, district name, equals max dim district, district name, close parentheses again, comma, shift enter, and it will be district rank. After that, shift enter for a new line, close parentheses, shift enter again, close parentheses once more, and then return, shift enter for a new line, hit tab to go over, if current rank is less than or equals to selected n, then if true, return a 1, otherwise 0. Close parentheses. And that is it for the top N districts filter. Now we can copy this slicer and paste it 2 more times. And under the district name, under the filters, the top N districts filter that we just created, slide that over under the filters on this visual, and under the drop down, show items when the value is, make it is, and then equals 1, and apply filter. All right, there's a couple of things that we need to do in order to make this, in order to make these other slicers work for the other tables. There is an option that we haven't talked about yet, and that is when you have slicers, when you have other visuals, you can have them affect or not affect other slicers and visuals. So when you click on any one of these tables or any one of the slicers, go over to Format and click on Edit Interactions. What this means is that one piece can filter another, or it can be restricted by not filtering it. And what we want are for these to independently affect the different tables. Because this is the same filter, the top N filters, the top N regional parameter, we're going to have one affect only one at a time. And how we do that is we select one of the regional. Let's select the first one. You see this one is affecting the county. You have 2 options. You have it filter, not filter, filter or none. So on both the district name and the school name, make sure you select none. Then move over to the middle filter and then select none for the county and none for the school name. And then move over to the third one, select none for the county and none for the district name. And there's one more thing that we need to do so that these filters, the top end filters, will work properly. And what that is, you see the number tested. We want this number tested we want it to be summed up so we don't see an iteration of Yuma Elementary District multiple times. So let's go over to the columns, the fields, click on number tested, and you'll see that the summarization says don't summarize. Now, if we click on sum, oh, what happened? We have 5 on the top end filter. Switch over to 8, switch over to 11, and it works perfectly. What we need to have is the sum of the number tested for each of these tables. Let's move over to the school table. Click on number tested. Under summarization, click on sum. Now for both of these, let's change the name of the field to simply number tested. Excellent. Now, this filter works for the district name. This filter works for the county. And the school one doesn't work yet because we have not built that DAX measure. We're going to do that next. All right, let's create that last DAX measure that we need to create to make this top end filter work. Go over to the school folder, click on more options, new measure, and we'll give it a name of top N schools filter equals shift enter for a new line. And once again, we're going to put in the variable var selected N equals selected value. That'll be top N regional. Let's see, 15. And then create the next variable. So not car, put in var. Rank table equals new line, tab, add columns, new line, all from dim school be school name, close parentheses, comma, new line, put in the name, school rank, comma, rank X, new line, all, it'll be dim school, school name, close parentheses, comma, new line, open square bracket, it'll be proficiency index school, comma, new line, comma, and then it will be sorting descending. New line, close parentheses, new line again, close parentheses, new line again, and we're going to create another variable. It'll be current rank equals new line, hit tab, calculate, new line, max, filter, rank table, comma, dim school, school name, equals max, dim school, school name, close parentheses again, comma, new line. This will be open square bracket, and we'll put in school rank. and then close parentheses. New line, close parentheses once more. New line, and we are going to say return if, let's go tab because we want to keep it clean. If logical test is current rank is less than or equal to selected n, then comma, return a 1 if it's true, otherwise return a 0. All right. And there is our top end schools filter. To initiate this, we will grab the top end schools filter and then place it on the visual filters for the schools. Make sure to change the show items when the value is 1. Apply filter. And since we already had 10 selected on the top end slicer, that's what showed up. Let's test it out. It works perfectly. So now we have all 3 of them working as intended. Let's change the names of them so that we know what we're filtering. Move over to the build tab. Under slicer header, actually, let's get rid of the slicer header and put in a title for it, because we have more options with the title. So top end schools, and we'll make that the font Segui UI. Font size of 12, and then center it. Let's go into size and style. Turn the background off. Add a visual border and a shadow. And then the visual border, let's give that a rounded corners of 10 pixels. And then the shadow, we'll give it the middle orange color. All right, that's looking good. And what we can do is we can use the format painter to copy over all the formatting options to the other top end slicers. So make sure you have that top end school slicers selected. Click on format painter. Select the next visual. Click on format painter again, and then select that. And then we'll have to change a couple of things on here to make it same across the board. Because the title is top end counties, and we change that. Now it's a size 12. Boom, there we go. And then top end district. Change the height. Should make all of the widths the same. So let's see what size we have. We have a width of 120. Let's see if 120. All right, that's good. I like that. So we can select, if you hold down the control key and then select the other two under the width, type in 120. Counties seems to be a little bit bigger, so let's make them, let's say 125. Select them all and make the width 125. Yes. Now we want to distribute these evenly, but first line up the top end schools with the edge of the district name, and then select them all. Under format, go to align and then distribute horizontally. Now they are all perfectly spaced from one another. And selecting out they all work. There's a couple more things to finish out this dashboard, and then you will be all done. Okay, so there's a main element in here that is missing. That's the picture that we use as the background. We also introduce this into the center area of the dashboard. So the same place that you retrieved the picture for the background, let's go ahead and go to Insert, Image. And pull in that image. And we're going to place it right here. It feels a little off though. So we're going to give it a visual border. Rounded corners, the same as what we've done across the board of 10 pixels. And then give it a shadow. And the shadow will be that orange color. That's better. And we have one more thing, which is adding in a couple of more slicers right in this empty space here. And for that, we're going to use the traditional slicer. Let's make it pretty small. These slicers will be for the subgroup. Let's collapse these tables and go to Dimension Subgroup, put in Subgroup. Go over to Slicer Settings, and so the vertical list, we'll have it as a drop down. And we want to change the text size to a size 8. That is for the slicer header, but we also, under the values, we want the values size to be size 8 as well. And that way we can see what the subgroup is. And you'll have to play with the size of all of your tables just to get everything just right. Play with the width of it all. That's looking good. This subgroup filter is only going to filter down areas such as the State Performance Index subgroup and a few other areas. But if you really want to hone in on some elements of the subgroup and how students identify themselves across the state of Arizona, then this is one way to do it. So we're going to copy and paste that again 2 times. And then for the second one, we're going to switch this to school name. So under Dimension School, it'll be school name. So you have all the school names to choose from. And then the final one will be test level. There's multiple ways to do things in Power BI. Oh, there we go. Let's bring this down a little bit. And let's add in a shape. I'll show you one more thing to do that you can do with shapes. Let's do a rounded tab top. Bring this up. Bring that down. Let's have it a little bit lower. All right, I like that. Shapes, you can have text inside in there. Under shape style, there's a lot of different options you can add. We're going to add in some text. And we'll just say additional filters. The text is already white. We like that. It contrasts nicely against the blue. And that is it. You have now just completed your first dashboard, start to finish. Congratulations. Now, if you like this training or if you have any feedback, please drop a comment below and let me know what it is that you think about this. All feedback is appreciated. Thank you.